Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to The View from Here, from behind enemy lines. We're going to talk about a few things today. However, I wanted to start off by asking a question. Is Elon Musk the Antichrist? Now, the reason that came to mind is that, according to the scripture, I know that the Antichrist would supposed to appear as a good man, as perhaps as a savior, even. And then after so many years, he would start to show his dark side. I mean, Musk has not done anything bad, anything evil, and I don't. It's possible that he is pushing this like these electronic vehicles and so forth in a digital world upon us, which is going to require tremendous loads of energy. Okay, to sustain. I mean, California, for example, what was it? They said, was it California or some other state now recently that said all vehicles must be EVs by, I think, 2030 or 2035. It's going to be fun when people have to, I think it was Colorado actually, they have to decide between, am I going to heat the house or am I going to charge the car? Okay. Because I forgot to say, they are eliminating all fossil fuels. So all electricity is going to be produced, is going to be powering everything. How that electricity is produced today, it's still produced mostly with fossil fuels, and they're starting to make a push now to produce it using nuclear energy. Anyway, so it was just something that came to mind, and I said, I wonder, here's a good man. I mean, Trump was called the possible Antichrist a few years ago, also by some. Napoleon, in his time, his enemies called him the Antichrist. Hitler was said to have been the Antichrist, and all of them, started out really as doing good for their countries, but then a dark side came up. I don't think so much with Napoleon, really. I think he had imperial ambitions, but he wasn't screwing France over. He was just taking over the world. So he didn't do anything bad for his people, except, unfortunately, get them into wars and have a lot of French people killed. And he wasn't even French anyway; he was Corsican. But go ahead, put in
Well,
your 2 cents worth now.
the
I'm
only
done for the moment.
the only Antichrist that I can imagine right now are the Muslim extremists. They're out to
Oh,
destroy Christians. They're out to basically dominate the world using God as an excuse. If there's anything more Antichrist than that, I don't know what is. So now, the Antichrist might not be an individual; it might be a group. So the thing is that Elon Musk is, in his own right, a independent world power. He's the world's most powerful man in regards to being the richest man in the world. His influence is extremely powerful.
yeah, he's starting a third party, a third political party.
Well, let's try to understand his position a little bit. Okay, an individual like Musk, who has established himself as the, not one of, but the richest man in the world, an innovator,
Mhm.
a person with grand schemes that um, needs world support in order for him to move forward. This is an individual who is used to getting his way eventually, or finding a way around whatever obstacles are in.
Yeah.
So this might be, for lack of a better word, a tantrum. This might be about him being upset and thinking that things should have gone a different direction, regardless of what his rationale is.
Somebody is finally telling him after about 20 years, no.
It may not even be that. He may be an individual, given his background, that is absolutely sure in his own mind that his path is the right path. And the poor fools who don't understand that are going to go off the precipice. So the thing is that Elon Musk is a unique individual. He's extremely powerful. He's extremely successful. He's brilliant, and he's established a domain that is as powerful as many a country. So he's going to behave like a world leader. And guess what? Every once in a while, they get pissed off and they do stuff. And they're not concerned about being a team player. They're interested in being the primary. So, regardless of whether or not his choices might interfere with what you consider an acceptable design, he is an extraordinary human being. And again, I'm not absolutely convinced that what he's doing is not in league with Trump. I would not put it past Trump or Elon Musk to let this sink in. Remember that reference when he walked into the Twitter building with a sink?
Oh yeah.
Let this sink in. That so he likes a good pun, and so the thing is that and Trump gave Iran up to 2 weeks to make a decision, and the next day, which is within that scope, he hit them with everything they had. These are both very crafty men. I think they're aware of each other's prowess. Trump, even though he's the president of the United States, I think if anything proved anything, Doge proved that Musk is a hell of a resource and a hell of an ally. And he got paid nothing for it. Now, maybe he felt that this assault on EVs in general really screwed him, especially since Tesla was firebombed and he lost $40 billion in total worth. I mean, the man has paid his freaking dues. So, as the Antichrist, you could say that about anybody who does something that you think is inherently wrong and of an extreme nature. I think, again, if we're to talk about an Antichrist, presuming, of course, such a thing is around today, I would say in general, the Muslim extremists and the Free Palestinians and all that other stuff, all that entire brand of anti-Semitics, I think they could qualify as being part of the Antichrist coalition, which they are anyway. They're by default.
I mean, okay, I don't. It's not that I believe Elon Musk is the Antichrist. That's not what I was trying to say. The question just popped into my mind. I wonder if he's the Antichrist because, a good man who suddenly, shows a dark side, but he would have to do evil things to the world.
Well, what you're really asking is he Brutus? The thing is that because metaphorically speaking, Trump has a lot of apostles. So if he's against Trump, then and he's the Antichrist, who's the Christ? Is that Trump? I don't think so. I think Trump has gone through a crucible that has purified him to some extent. He might, I don't know what he is personally on the side, but he's been doing some wonderful work. And first of all, again, I think the Muslim extremists are horrific, and they are the enemy.
They are the enemy of the world. That I agree totally.
Right. So I would say they are the Antichrist, and you heard it here first.
Okay. I was just
your opinion agrees with the view from the view from here behind enemy lines. Muslim extremists are the Antichrist, and the center is in New York City.
Oh, that's yeah. Could he be the Antichrist? He comes out, he shows himself to be
Nice.
great and this and that. But that would be on the localized thing because unless he, God forbid, ever became president, because he is going. If he gets elected, he will destroy New York City if he can get the council to go along with all his crazy ideas.
Well, let's look at some strategy here.
Keep talking. I forgot to put sugar in this when I made it. I'm going to get the sugar now. Keep talking.
You can still listen. So anyway, let's put up some strategy. If there is an Antichrist, all right, and it's if we go according to doctrine, there is a devil, there is a Satan, okay, and that Satan would definitely have orchestrated the existence of the Antichrist. So we have Satan, we have the Antichrist, right, which is basically the arm of Satan, right? So what is your strategy?
According, isn't the Antichrist supposed to be the son of Satan? Or
Okay.
no? I don't know.
I would still consider. I would still consider that major.
Maybe I'm letting the film The Omen influence me. Okay.
The Antichrist, to keep the definition simple, the Antichrist is simply that which is completely the opposite of the Christ mind. So in other words,
evil. It has no conscience. It has no mercy.
I'm talking about character traits. I'm talking about someone who wants to dominate instead of free. Someone
does it through lies, manipulation.
Who wants to separate all people from the God mind. Someone who wants to create eternal death. Someone who wants to obliterate the teachings of the gospel and also the Old Testament. Someone who wants to pervert the world in every possible way. A super Sodom and Gomorrah. We're talking about someone. We're talking about a movement whose very purpose is to eradicate everything wholesome and possibly make a facade that they are the wholesomeness, which is what the left has been doing. I mean, the Democratic Party could be the Antichrist, because look what they did. They motivated the world to castrate our children, to incarcerate our parents for being against it,
to kill millions in the womb,
right? To destroy our legal system, to deny any kind of. Do you really need me to create a list? The Democratic Party has done so much horrible things. They've eradicated so much. They've destroyed and perverted so much. Okay, that they could qualify as the Antichrist. As a matter of fact, one of the things I was originally thinking is, what if there's not one Antichrist? What if there's multiple Antichrists? I mean, that to me is a better strategy as the devil. As the devil, having one head and chopping it off means that you're
a Hydra.
Right, exactly. So, and let's use a magic number. Let's call it 12. If Satan is the high priest, then there would be 12 antichrists. Okay?
The Democrat Party, Islam, communism, specifically today, Chinese communism, dictators like Erdogan in Turkey just arrested 3 mayors.
You forgot the View. The View.
Oh, the View. Those pigs. No, but they're just you. Oh, you know what? They're the head that they stick out there that we can lop off because they don't even like that head.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, CNN. Media in general. Media is another one.
Yoga pants. That is definitely spawn of Satan. Because every time you look at some chick, first of all, there's 2 experiences of yoga pants. There's the, oh my God, that's incredible. And the, oh my God, That's fucking
Oh God,
impossible.
doesn't she have a mirror? Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh,
Oh, you
there,
know
there
what?
goes.
Wait, here's another Antichrist. All the blue-haired, wide-eyed nutcases.
Yep.
And specifically, aside from Islamists, from all the Muslims, a specific group of Muslims, Palestinians, I think, are basically evil
Right, right,
because
right. There you go.
everywhere they've gone, they've been kicked out. The Arabs, they are Arabs, and the other Arab nations have had them in there and kicked them out. They don't want them back in there.
Hmm.
Okay, they don't. So the
Oh,
Palestinians would count as one head. Oh, the jerk offs down in South Africa, kill the Boer, kill the Boer, kill the Boer. The racists down there, but they're not racist because they're black. They can't be racist. My ass, they can't.
hmm.
Okay.
Well, uh the point is that if we really worked at it, we could probably come up with 12 very strong candidates.
That's five
Not
already.
joking around.
The bankers, the world's bankers,
The Rothschilds.
the Rothschilds mainly, they control it all. But under them are BlackRock and Vanguard and all those other big.
What about our buddy in IBM,
Oh,
Gates?
Bill Gates. Oh my God, he's got his own head. That motherfucker.
Yeah. And
Oh,
what about his counterpart, the guy that looks like a robot that is Facebook boy?
oh, Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
Zuck the cuck.
Zuckerberg. Yeah.
Zuckerberg. Yeah. Okay. So social media is another head. Uh, yeah, Bill Gates. So we're
Oh,
at seven, I
good
think.
one.
Right?
Big Pharma.
Big Pharma, definitely. Oh, and one more in cahoots with Big Pharma, Big Agra,
Yes.
and the medical establishment, which is which was which kowtows to the Rockefellers. Okay, so that's nine with the Rockefellers themselves.
Well, the thing that you should have recognized as a kid, as you grew up, you should have noticed that the doctors stopped taking the Hippocratic oath. You know that, don't you? They
I
took a
didn't know
different
that.
oath. The oath that they take now is the hypocritical oath.
Huh, I believe that. Yeah, I mean, look at this bitch who got fired. Thank God from the hospital in Houston where she was. She was wishing well to all non-Trump supporters in the floods and so forth. She like basically made fun of and was gleeful about the fact that these little kids were killed because their parents were probably, she said, Trump
White.
supporters, and they were all white and they
Yes.
were all rich and so on and so on. Well, that bitch has been fired. Hopefully, she'll never get a job anywhere in Texas again. I
It's
hope she
very
has to go to California and she's there when God sends it pouring
well
into the.
that was never proven to my knowledge that camp was only for whites.
No, but this is what she was saying. She's one of those. She's one of those harpies of the left. Well, wait a minute. The left in general. We talked about. I mean, the Democrats are part of the left and everything, but the left is an entity of its own.
Oh, college professors.
Academia, yes, academia. 11, and wait, one more. We need 12. Should we say? I don't know. They do good and they do bad, just like doctors. But I'm thinking about the legal establishment.
Well, then
No,
you could say,
wait. No, got it. The deep state.
there
The
you
deep
go.
state. And it's not just in America. The deep state is pervasive in every country.
We could call it in general the Illuminati, the great secret organization, like Skulls and the what is that? The Masons.
Freemasons, skull and bones, and so forth.
Yeah, because I
Well,
mean,
they're all part of at least one of these other groups.
well, see, that was the first form of equity. If you were a member of that group, you got a job. Doesn't matter whether you had skill or not.
Which group? Which group?
The Masons,
Oh yeah, that's true.
because like if you're a Mason brother, I'm going to give you the job over this other guy who might be more skilled.
I know a couple of guys who I know a guy who's in the Masons, and I have a cousin who is a Mason in Europe. I was invited to be when I was about 22, I think. I was invited, 21, 22. I was invited by a guy. He kept inviting me. He wanted me to become a Mason. And I didn't go because I figured, oh, I'm already a member of the Optimist Club and it's going to take up too much time. I had no idea what the Masons were all about. I just thought they were another
Christian Knights of Columbus.
yes, sort of like that. What do you call those organizations? Knights of Columbus, Lions Club, and so forth. What are they? Social organizations, something like that.
Yeah, the mafia.
A different kind of mafia. Actually, the mafia are the good guys because they're at least fighting off the the deep state. They control the deep state in something. They make money off whatever they can.
There was an excellent little action movie called The Rocketeer, and
there's a remake of the old '50s character.
Yeah, it was a combination of things, but anyway, The Rocketeer was like a Pulp Fiction movie set in a more. Actually, I think it was set in the 30s or 40s. No. It was set in the 40s because there were Nazis. That's right. There were Nazis.
Yes,
so it's in the 40s. So the thing is that they're having problems with the mafia people and stuff like that. And they're also having problems with the Nazis. And the Nazis are trying to steal the Rocketeer's rocket pack and get it back, right? So in the process, the mafia guys find out that the people trying to get it back aren't just any old client; they're Nazis, and that's when the mafia guy they start shooting at the Nazis, and the guy goes, "Why are you shooting at the Nazis?" He says, "I may be a criminal, but I'm still a patriot."
I don't remember. I saw the film once, but I don't remember.
It's actually very good. The Betty Page is represented in that movie. She's the girlfriend of the Rocketeer, and very hot. And Betty Pages was a pinup girl from the 40s and 50s. She did a lot of spanking images where she would be in her underwear and somebody would make believe they're spanking her. So that was very naughty at the time. Nowadays, we've gone full tilt. Our perversions have increased. It takes a lot more destruction in order for us to cross that taboo. What were once habits, what were once vices are now habits.
Let's see what else. Everybody is in an uproar because
are you satisfied that Musk is not the Antichrist?
Yeah. It was just something that came across my mind, like I said, and your argument actually holds more water than my question.
Yeah, it's like, here's the thing.
It's just idle curiosity of an idea that popped into my head.
Every once in a while, I do get scared that I am making the wrong choices and I'm just being bamboozled.
Well, you are. Look, you're with me on this podcast. Of course, you made the wrong choice.
It's possible I'm as much of a dupe as I presume that the left is. You know what I mean? But anyway, yeah, I just don't. I think that here's a thought that I had before we started talking on the air. That kind of shook me up a little bit, and that was, I don't know if you're aware of it, but one of Musk's children started transitioning.
Oh yeah, a while ago. Yeah, I've heard about that.
Now, Musk was interviewed, I think, with Rogan, and Musk simply was tricked into it. Now, just understand this. Very powerful man, loaded with crazy money, and he was
very intelligent too.
He was still tricked. He was still tricked into it, and it's one of his greatest.
Regrets.
Yeah, his kid is permanently sterilized now because he was taking these puberty blockers and stuff. I don't know the full story, but I know that he was very sad during most of that interview.
Well, yeah, Musk was tricked because the psychologist told him that if he didn't do this, that the kid might end up killing himself.
Yeah.
That's how he scared the parents in a lot of cases.
It's
Other parents are just nuts. Like Charlize Theron, she has no kids. She was on a podcast the other day bragging about how many abortions she's had. She can't. She doesn't even know how many, but she adopted 3 kids, and all 3 are trans.
well, what's the odds? Well,
Yeah.
I had that right there. That made me realize that Elon Musk, as brilliant as he is, he can make seriously big mistakes, especially And the thing is that that was not just a mistake. That was not just a bad business choice.
That was
That was the assault upon his child, whom he loves very much. He got that blindsided.
Yeah, and he agreed to it because, I mean, out of love and out of fear that
But
the
he
kid
still
was
got
going
tricked.
for.
My point
Yeah.
is that we got to stop thinking of Elon Musk as being this perfect thing.
No. Yeah,
He's
yeah.
just a person,
Yeah.
ultimately. And yes, he's ultra brilliant, and he has resources well beyond our imagining. But the point of the matter is, he can make mistakes. For all I know, here's a way of turning this around. Okay, the American Party. Okay, what might that be? What if it was a way of corralling moderates and then getting them to vote red?
Hey, maybe what's her name, Laura Forkham might be
Yeah.
all in favor of this.
Well, she's doing the same thing, kind of. Only she's not calling it a party. She's gathering a group of people and they're talking.
Well, that would she would oppose the fact that he's calling it another
So
party.
she said. So yeah, but the thing is that if I have an organization of 100,000 people that look up to me and recognize that I'm the one who created this organization, then those people would be
Following your lead.
Yeah, they could be led. I mean,
Yeah, just like the teachers union, okay, led by the Antichrist who just resigned. Forget her name.
they found out that on that Malamar in New York, I'm going to call him Malamar because he's a squishy little fuck. But anyway, when he was 17 or 18 years,
the candidate who eats with his fingers on TV while being interviewed.
Exactly. Yeah, that was a nice move.
The low class piece
That's
of shit.
right.
Well, he's not from low class. What?
Varying accents. That's right up there with her accents. But anyway, when he was 17 or 18, he was trying to apply to, I forget which college, whether it was Harvard or this, that, or the other thing.
Oh, yeah, he said he was black.
That's right. But now,
yeah.
But the thing is that now he says, no, I wasn't black. No, I'm not black. So he was black when he filled it out.
Up over the year.
Well, the problem is that he also lied when he became an American citizen. He said that he had no support for any known terrorist group. And he was friends of Hamas.
And the Muslim Brotherhood, which is the spider at the center of the web of Islamists.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Antichrist.
So yeah, that alone should get the Department of Justice or Immigration to revoke his citizenship and kick his fucking ass out of this country.
Well, here's the thing. Regardless of whether or not they succeed to that level, because for some reason these things don't seem to happen. The fact of the matter is that it's another piece of the puzzle. It's another chink in his armor. Not being racist, but another chink in his armor. And the thing is that there's this video, 20 minutes of black people maligning him. It's good stuff. So he's not getting the black vote. He probably is not going to get the Puerto Rican vote or the Hispanic.
He's not going to get. No, he's not going to get.
I don't think Jews are going to vote for him, and there's 2 million of them in New York.
Stupid Jews who are voting for him are just complete leftists. You have the other Jews who are like, "Oh no, we're Democrats, but we have to vote for him because he's the candidate." That's stupid.
Wait a second. I understand that the Jewish population might be Democrat by default so far, but here's the thing. Once your house is on fire, it's time for you to move your ass. So the thing is that they've never had a reason to buck the system, and being a Democrat is a way of going along to get along. And they have their own private community. Okay, I worked in downtown Manhattan.
Well,
And
you're
every
talking
time I
about
went,
you're talking about certain groups of
well,
Jews, like
Hasidics,
the thieves.
I would go into places and I would try to engage Hasidics.
Oh
It's no
no,
good.
we're not having that.
It's no
No, no,
good.
no, no, no. You have a better chance of engaging, what do they call them? An Amish person than
I
a
almost got run over by an Amish guy with his horse and buggy, and his mother apologized. He goes, he doesn't like the English.
so he tried to kill you.
He probably figured I would jump out of the way, which I did. But he just
Oh, he was right.
well, the thing is, they were selling out of that house that I approached,
Yeah,
root beer, which they make, which is really
they
good.
make it. Yeah,
Okay, so
I think
but
that's the only soda they make, isn't it? Maybe ginger beer,
no,
not
they
beer.
were selling root beer.
Ginger ale.
But
What?
anyway, they probably sell other things.
No, they do sell root beer, cream soda, that kind of stuff. I've seen it at some of the Amish restaurants.
Well, I
Um,
have a lot of respect for the Amish because of the fact that they're willing to hold on to their ways, even though the rest of the world seems to be going in a completely different direction. You have to admire that level of loyalty for
yeah,
one's ideology.
and they're also efficient. I mean, if you had a farm, you had to build a farm, you're going to have to get a contractor. But it might take a week, 2 weeks, might take a month. The Amish will build a barn. They get both together. They'll put it up in one day.
Well, that's because they don't get permits.
No, they don't.
If you, it's on their own property, they're like
Yeah,
their own nation.
yeah, but the state always wants, or the city. Well, maybe the city has
Religious
says,
freedom,
okay,
brother.
you do your own thing. Maybe okay, that's good.
I don't know the limits of the law in regards to the Amish. I know shit about the Amish. The closest I come to that is the few little experiences that I had when I was in Amish country, and essentially the ones I do bump into some Amish people at the resale store. They like to go to these this one resale store and they walk around and they don't interact with anybody really, and it's just the ladies, and I give them their berth, and they just come in and they do what they got to do and then leave. They get a lot of used stuff, which is kind of funny because if you look at their clothing, it all
They
looks
make
handmade.
a lot of their clothing.
It looks handmade.
It
Yeah,
is.
they're buying clothes and odds and ends and things like that. It's like, I don't know.
Well, maybe you're going to tailor it to their taste or whatever. You know
Well,
how the Amish came about, by the way? This is funny. You've heard of the Mennonites?
yes.
Okay, the Mennonites are the ones who they have straw hats. They don't wear the black suit. They wear pants and a shirt. You know, I mean, in the winter, of course, they're going to have coats. They'll wear a shirt and a short sleeve shirt, long sleeve shirt, whatever. Straw hats. They will drive cars. They will drive tractors. They will use telephones.
They
They
have,
will use modern convenience. Now, I don't remember when it was, 100 years ago or more, whatever. Uh, some guy came along, a Mennonite, and he said, "Oh no, this is not strict enough. We got to make it even more strict. We're not going to use anything that we're not going to use telegraphs, electricity, nothing, nothing, nothing." Okay, so he went and he founded the Amish. So the Amish were, and I thought that the Mennonites came from the Amish. That they said, "No, no, no, this is too strict. We're going to break off and interact with the outside world." But no, it's the opposite. The Amish further distance themselves from the English, as they call it.
okay. Was that a joke?
No, that wasn't a joke. That was just a little history lesson.
Okay. In the Lehigh Valley, there's there was some sort of religious movement called the Moravians.
Moravians, yes, I've been to their church 3 years in a row, I went to their church in Bethlehem on Christmas,
Yeah.
midnight mass,
No, nothing
because my
about it.
brother's girlfriend belonged to the church.
They made some really great brick buildings. That's all I can tell you. Bethlehem is downtown Bethlehem and all the area is pretty
It's all
gorgeous.
Moravian, okay?
Yeah. There's
Yeah,
even a
that's where
college.
Carl's father's from, and hey, they're a pretty industrious lot. The church is really beautiful too. The service is nice too. I mean, we're not Moravians, but we went anyway. I mean, Valentina is an atheist. She was brought up atheist because she was brought up in Belarus, which was part of the Soviet Union. Her mother was religious. Her father was Russian and atheist, but she grew up. She was despised by both sides, by the Jews because she was half Russian, and by the Russians because she was half Jewish. Okay.
Well, when I bump into an atheist and that subject comes up, when the whole thing is over, I tell them it's okay. If you're an atheist, don't worry, God will forgive you.
Don't what?
Don't worry, God will forgive you.
Oh, I like that. That's good. There are no atheists in a plane that's having trouble.
No atheists on the battlefield either.
Yeah, that's true. I've heard that a lot. I've heard that from soldiers. There's no atheists on the battlefield.
Yeah, it's the whole concept of a higher power. Like I was talking to a young lady yesterday. She's a writer, and she's trying to get her first book out. And she says it's really, really hard work. I said, yeah, but you got to love it, and you have to work for a higher power. Whatever it is that you're doing to make this book, it's something greater than yourself. The book is more important than you are. So, I do believe that having a higher power of some sort is essential for, well, it increases your quality of life, when you serve a higher power.
Well, people who believe in some kind of higher power, whether it be a god or something else, are studies have shown that and again, if you can trust the study, that they seem to be happier in general than people who have no such beliefs. People who think that this life is all there is, and once you die, you're gone, and that's it forever. They are not as happy in general as people who believe that there's something better out there after we die, or that we are coming back to something better.
I had an interesting idea today. I don't know what spawned it. It was some sort of inner dialogue, and
like my Musk Antichrist thought.
it's certainly in the same ballpark. I've come to the conclusion that everything that exists is an archetypal thought, which means it's a thought as perfect as can be. It is a perfect thought. Everything that exists, it exists initially as a perfect thought, but perfection does not allow for deviation.
And there's a lot of deviation.
So the thing is that the most perfect thing is to deviate from the perfect thought. And so that's why all trees don't look exactly the same. The land is not that every inch of land is not the most perfect piece of land in the world. Et cetera, et cetera. So you have this archetypal idea, which I believe is held in the mind of God, and it is the form that all the other forms reside in. So when it comes to being people, there's this. If you think of Jesus as the perfect person, right? Then all variants within the model of Jesus are possible. So it's an interesting idea. It came to me for the first time today, and it kind of makes sense why things are not. It turns it's counterintuitive. It's perfection is the establishment of imperfection within the form. It's like every person is imperfect, yet their purest form has the potential of perfection. And I don't know, it's a strange idea. I'm having problems holding it together, but it's just an interesting idea that if the Creator created all these things perfect, they would just reside, and things would become eventually static. Maybe I'm wrong, and that's in my mind. And so by allowing things to deviate from the perfect model, it allows for an infinite number of manifestations, which
Very,
create the universe.
yeah, I see the line you're following there.
Well, I'm glad you do,
I
because
understand it. Yeah. So maybe I should get my head examined because I actually understand what you're talking about. But
good. You'll have to explain to me someday.
did you know that they just discovered that they apparently for months, for several months, he was going to the White House every day. He would get there in the morning, and the White House logs just say Joe time. Now, Joe time went from, I think, 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning till sometime in the afternoon, many days. So, what the hell was he doing?
I know exactly what he's
He
doing.
was running the country, not Joe Biden.
I know exactly what he was doing. He was going there to have a cup of coffee with his friends. It was Joe time.
There you go. Okay. Do you remember when Raggedy Ann, what's her name, the red-haired liar, who was Joe Biden's first
The one that was replaced by the Brillo pad.
The one who was replaced by Brillo pad, yeah. Pinocchio. He was over there. Actually, I don't know which.
Jen Psaki.
Jen Psaki, yes. One time they asked her in the press conference, they asked her, how do you like working with the president? She goes, oh, I love working with President Obama. And then she said, I mean President Biden. It was a Freudian slip. Obama was running things in the White House. Maybe not him alone. Valerie Jarrett, that bitch, was probably involved also because she is a direct connection to the Muslim Brotherhood, okay, and other people who were there. It wasn't Obama alone. It was Obama and the
Kamala
team.
Harris picked.
What?
Did you know that Kamala Harris herself picked Jen Psaki? And you don't want to know why?
She picked Psaki?
Yes. And then I'm going to tell you the backstory.
She thought it was a Raggedy Ann doll.
No. She went ahead and she had to pick a press secretary, and she was given a list, but because Kamala Harris has a drinking problem, she saw Jen Psaki. I'll take that.
Jen and Psaki.
I just made that up.
Yes, I like that.
You know, the thing is that I never even bothered to learn the black girl's name.
I can't remember her name now.
Just throw letters at you. It's like J something or other, right? But anyway,
what the hell was her name?
The thing is that Jen Psaki was horrible.
Yeah, and this one was even worse.
That's the point. I never thought there could be worse, but there was. It was Brillo pad.
And Jen Psaki is on
I'm sorry,
MSNBC or CNN. One of those. She's got some stupid show there, and her ratings are low anyway. But she continues to lie, but on screen every day.
That's what she's good at.
I don't know what the carpet muncher's doing. The Brillo pad carpet muncher.
Yes. You ever see those like copper Brillos that you use for like that's as soon as I saw that I said, now I'll be honest with you, I think she's pretty.
She's got a pretty face, yeah. But she's a lying scumbag. She's a lying scumbag. And that hair is used to erase things.
I thought in case she fell down, she didn't have to worry about hurting her head.
Are we going to get into the old jokes? Like, how did her parents stop her from jumping up and down on the bed? They put Velcro on the ceiling?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
What was more difficult for Brillo pad to tell her parents that she was a lesbian or that she was black? What was more difficult? I screwed that joke.
It's such a stupid joke. I'm laughing at.
Yeah, yeah, I forget. That was an actually good joke. I don't know.
It's not a bad joke,
Yeah,
actually.
you're supposed to actually. The way I first heard it was, um, man, I can't remember the joke now. I've got your whatever it is you got. I got.
Speaking of, hey, was one of them a vegetarian, either Saki or Brillo?
I don't know.
Anyway, why don't
You see, the thing is that a lot of a lot of vegans are basically virtue signaling. I was a vegetarian for 5.5 years, but one of the things I didn't do is I didn't proselytize vegetarianism. You know, but I've known people.
vegans are the worst?
Yeah, they are the worst.
That chef, the famous chef, said in his book Kitchen Confidential. I feel sorry for vegans. They are the no. He goes, vegans are the Hezbollah cousins to the vegetarian
Okay. Yeah,
Hezbollah faction, whatever.
5.5 years. You know, and then I walked away from it because I thought it was just elitist. But you know the like you have India, right? They're all vegetarian, pretty much.
Well, Hindus are vegetarian.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't. They won't eat. They won't eat cow meat. They will eat goat and lamb. They eat a lot of lamb. They're not vegetarian. They are. They are. There are vegetarians among them, but they eat chicken. They eat fish. You know.
I was pretty healthy as a vegetarian. Um, but when I did a lot of workouts and stuff, but I never bulked up because I wasn't taking in
You weren't
enough
getting the
protein.
protein you needed.
Yeah. And I was taking protein powder and all this other stuff, but it
Yeah,
just
plant-based protein powder, probably, right?
yeah
Yeah.
yeah it's actually I was taking whey, which is egg whites, I believe.
From milk. From milk.
Oh, is that from milk?
That's
Okay.
dairy. That's dairy.
I wasn't a vegan. I was a vegetarian.
You were vegetarian. Okay, that's right.
An ovo-lactate vegetarian, not to be confused with a pescatarian, which is a
They
vegetarian.
can eat fish.
Fish,
And
fish,
a lot of them can eat chicken too. What do they call those? Chicketarian? What?
Smart, because chicken is certainly worth eating. Anything that stupid should be eaten. I mean, of all the animals in the barnyard, it's just like the chicken has got to be the stupidest looking one of all. The cows, you got to respect their girth. They're big. They're big. So goats,
Yeah,
they're
they are.
cantankerous.
They're not very. I don't know. Has anybody ever been charged that by a cow?
First of all, they've been kicked by cows.
Yeah,
That's
you're picking the wrong udder. Get out of here.
well, yeah. The thing is that yeah, that can happen. As many cows have been out there, I'm quite sure the cows have got their one-uppance now and then. That's like there's this comedian Jesselneck who's
Yeah.
very dark, and
Oh, it is so bad.
he had a show, and he would his premise was throughout the year millions of sharks are killed by human beings, but basically there's only maybe 10 people a year killed by sharks. So whenever he found out that there was a shark that killed somebody, he'd throw a shark party and he'd tell how the guy got killed or whomever and everything. And I saw it. It's on YouTube, Shark Party. I saw it and I go, this is fucked up. This is not funny. And the thing
It is
that
funny, unfortunately.
it's not when you think about think about the family and how they're going to react to that. They threw him off the air because of it. and I don't
Yeah.
blame.
Well,
I like.
he's got another show somewhere now. I don't know. No, he's got a podcast with somebody.
Okay, I like Jesselneck, except for the fact he was funnier before he grew a beard. Once he grew a beard, he looked as evil as his jokes.
He looked like a liberal with a
He
beard.
looked like a nice guy, you know. But with the beard and everything, it looks like, you know,
Yeah, he doesn't look
he looks like a bad man. And
Oh,
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the reason why he put the beard on.
why what?
Why he put the beard on is to look bad.
He
He might have thought
terrible.
it would have improved his routine.
Hey, why don't vegetarians moan during sex?
Go ahead.
They don't want to have to admit that meat gives them some pleasure.
So
I
vegetarian
screwed
women.
up the joke somehow.
Yeah.
Maybe I should actually edit this thing and cut that one out. I don't know.
That would be very prudent.
All right, I'll make up for it.
But,
Old man and his wife are sitting watching TV, and the old man's in a bad mood. He goes, "You know what? You know what I'm going to put on your headstone? I'm going to put on your headstone, cold as ever." She goes, "Oh yeah? You know what I'm going to put on your headstone when you die? Finally, stiff at last." Screwed it up. Shouldn't have put the finally.
I'm going to tell you a true story.
Okay.
And I used to install aluminum siding. I did it for a couple of months until I screwed it up. And the guy that was the boss and did the aluminum installs, he was a Jewish guy, but he was like, I don't know how to describe it, but he was like a crazy Jew. Okay, he was like a wild man. You know, he would have fit in with any mafia guy. I mean, he was freaking crazy.
Okay.
Anyway, a big boy too. So he tells me this true story. He said, you know, I used to work for Sears, and Sears would give him these jobs. So they send him over to this place, and he's installing the aluminum siding in the interior because it's a kind of a semi-enclosed porch. So he's doing the interior, right? And the woman comes out and she goes, "Why are you doing this side first? You should be doing that side first, and this and that and the other thing." She starts telling him how to do his job. He goes, "Ma'am, do you have a husband? Can he come out here and talk to me?" And, you know, she goes, "My husband is dead." And his immediate response was, "He's happy." Because, you know, there are certain types of women that are certainly pains in the asses.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, okay. Well, the only other thing I had to talk about, if I read this in the coming darkness, I told you about that. Oh, I was going to talk about the Epstein thing, but you know what? We'll leave that for another show.
There's nothing to talk about. They said there's no list.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are upset about that, and some people are speculating that it could be because it would destroy our alliance with a good ally. People are pointing at Israel, possibly the United Kingdom. Maybe, yeah, who knows who was involved in these things.
It doesn't matter if earlier before the Trump time, if it was destroyed, or if they had a habit of keeping that in the space that you know what I mean. In other words,
yeah, no, they could have removed it before Trump got in. As soon as Trump was elected, they could have destroyed it. Yeah.
They're also doubling down and saying that Epstein absolutely committed suicide.
That's what bothers me.
Yeah, that is. So,
well, that's the evidence they have there. That doesn't mean it's true. This is what the evidence is pointing at,
as though it is fact. They're not saying the evidence says
that's all they could prove.
They're saying no, Epstein killed himself. That's how they're presenting it.
Yeah.
So,
because they said that they saw the thing, nobody went in or out during that time.
There's this.
I think the film was edited. I think the surveillance tapes were edited.
Let's look at it differently.
And remember, they did admit there was some time missing from the tapes.
Let's look at it differently. Let's ask a question. Who runs an island like Epstein? A person who is immersed in pleasure
Or
of any kind.
yeah.
Is that the kind of person that commits suicide?
Yeah, but also remember he was also arrested once before, and they were told to let him go because he was an intelligent asset.
He probably has or had resources off the island that they didn't know about. He probably had funds and money and so forth like that. He has a network of supporters.
Yeah, and nobody knows how he made those billions.
So, the thing is, here's my opinion. I think because he was immersed in pleasure, he wouldn't want to give up the pleasure of life. So I don't believe he committed suicide. I believe that at some point he could have gotten out somehow or improved the situation somehow with his connections. So the thing is, was Epstein a criminal? Yes. Is he dead? Yes. Do I care? No. I'm not interested in having justice for his death. Okay?
Look,
he's
I understand
dead,
what
it's
you're
over
saying
with,
there.
that's it. And you want to go ahead and blackmail a whole bunch of people because he wrote their names on a list?
Well, they engaged in sex with minors. That's what
Presumably.
you're saying. Presumably.
I mean, if you're into corruption, couldn't you lie on a piece of paper as well? Couldn't you talk shit about people and say, yeah, he was with a 6-year-old boy? That's easy to do. As a matter of fact,
Supposedly he had tapes on everybody.
Let me do it right now. Roy was with a horse and 4 goats.
No, that was at my son's farm.
One of the goats was underage. So the thing is that instead of focusing on Epstein, which if we have resources, yeah, go ahead and pursue it. But the point is, we have millions of illegals running around. We have people in legal situations, lawyers and so forth like that have broken laws. We have people all over the place to arrest that are still running around free. Take them down.
It could be that most of Congress would have been compromised. Who knows? But insofar as Epstein himself, I think that they're talking now about how they've proven that the skulls that they recovered that were supposedly Eva Braun's and Adolf Hitler's have been proven not to belong to them. Okay, one. So he faked his death and got away. Now Epstein had the power and the money, I believe, to get somebody who looked like him enough so that on the tape it looked like him. And he substituted this guy for himself. He was taken out. He walked out. This guy took the fall literally for him.
Well, it could have been a cadaver for me.
He's somewhere else enjoying his depraved life, and people are not looking for him because he is dead. So they think.
Yeah, he's hanging out with. Oh my God!
Elvis.
I forget his fucking name.
Elvis.
No,
Elvis wouldn't hang out with him.
No, the guy that supposedly the Navy SEALs killed threw overboard.
Bin Laden.
Yeah, they're hanging out in the same spot. Yeah, because I think Bin Laden is still alive.
Well, wait a minute. They are connecting Epstein because remember, Ghislaine Maxwell or whatever, however you pronounce her name. Her father was Robert Maxwell. There are a ton of books about how he was a Mossad agent. He was a billionaire too. He died mysteriously off one of his yachts. Okay, in the middle of the ocean. supposedly. So Robert Maxwell and his daughter are the connection to the Mossad that Epstein supposedly had. Epstein was supposedly working for the CIA and Mossad, and God knows who else. He could have been working for the KGB as well. Okay.
Well,
Anyway,
again,
I think that he, and why hasn't Ghislaine Maxwell been killed? Why hasn't she been? Why is she still alive? Why is she getting out in a couple of years and so forth? I mean, she's got big promises for her life, I guess. I don't know.
yeah, again, and he's out of business. Okay, they stopped that location.
At that location, he's out of business that we know.
Well, yeah, but the thing
He
is
might
that
have an island somewhere in Indonesia that's got 1,400
we
islands,
would have heard about
or
it
the
by now.
Philippines.
You can't run a business without having clients. You can't run clients unless
The Philippines have over 1,000 islands, I believe. Okay,
yeah, but you're still communicating. You can't have a business without
they don't
communication.
know who is who. All they know is money comes in an envelope, and you leave this island alone.
Again, that would spill
Like
out.
in Doctor No, with James Bond's Doctor No.
This is like
Well,
this is
speaking of
not.
Doctor No, do you know that they didn't want Sean Connery for it? Okay, they wanted somebody else. I forget who. When Connery went in, they said no good. But then as he walked away, one of the producers said he walks like a panther, and based on that, they hired him. But he only got paid $6,000 to make that film, a film that
Okay.
made millions in those days, even
I have a feeling
1960s.
he made more money the next.
Later on, yeah. But anyway, all right. I think we've covered enough here. What else? Mossad and all that. Okay. Oh, that's another one. Maybe. Oh, I already said that. Could be that we compromise that the tapes would compromise Israel or the United Kingdom or maybe all our allies
Nothing, or
or
maybe.
all our allies. No,
Well,
if it was nothing, then it would be there and they would be able to release it. But they're saying no, there's no evidence because the evidence has been destroyed before Cash Patel got there.
most likely.
Yeah. And people are angry about it. And that people say, "Oh, it's because Trump's name was in there." This that Trump was the only one who cooperated with the who answered a subpoena about him and testified against him. He's the only one who kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago when he found out he was hitting on a 14-year-old girl and banned him from Mar-a-Lago. Okay,
There are plenty of people that are on the side of right that would want to see justice in this subject, and they're in a position. They're in positions of power. They're surrounding Trump, so we have to have some sort of faith in Trump and his organizations that they're doing the right thing. And if they're doing something that is under the table, it's for a good reason. Otherwise,
It's possible. Yeah.
the thing is, we've been under Biden for so long. We don't trust anything from anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, but now you know what the Biden camp is going to say that you and I are kissing Trump's ass, that we're protecting him even though we know he's guilty of that. Bullshit to you guys,
Well, we may be kissing his ass, but they're licking it.
All right, I think we're going to cut this here. Before
You
it gets
do
too
that.
raunchy. We will see you again. Next
More.
week sometime we may have the Gnarly Girls may finally come on the podcast, and we've got an up and coming guest who is a very very interesting character, a man by the name of Brig Barker. He has some kind of resume. Next show that we do, I will hint at what he's going to do. We've got him tentatively scheduled for the 24th. I don't have a time yet, but we will be recording with him on the 24th. That's in a couple of weeks. And we are going to record with the Gnarly Girls sometime next week. I'm not sure when. I'm just waiting to hear back from them what day they're available. In the meantime, we will say good night from the view from here, behind enemy line.
Bye bye.